And welcome, everybody, to this edition of Prophecy in the Spotlight. I'm your host, Brother Dan Goodwin, sitting with me, Dr. Charles Hiltibidal. Doc, the show coming up, we're going to talk about a brand new book that's not even printed yet. It'll be printed Monday,
You're
February.
getting good at this, Dan.
Yeah. Well, you did it too on the Great White Throne book.
I'm sorry.
We do a show, we have a prototype. I call it a prototype of the book, but the book doesn't exist yet. It's going to be printed Monday. This is Saturday. This is Saturday the 14th, so the 6th, no, this is Saturday the 12th of February right now, today. This will be printed on Monday the 14th. I'll have it probably by Wednesday.
Sweetheart Day.
Yeah. So this
it's all about Cupid and arrows. And
this is UFO'S, Truth or Fable.
Amen.
In fact, the next two shows on television and here on YouTube are going to be on this topic. So get ready, Doc.
Well, I'm ready because I've been applied for my license to drive one. I've been practicing with the joystick, man.
Do they have a steering wheel or a joystick? That's the question.
I think it's joystick.
Yeah. So we're gonna have some fun with it.
You know, it might be like some of these new airplanes we have. Did you know that in a F-35, to be trained for it, you wear a $50,000 gold-plated helmet and you're able to see 360.
Really?
And mentally, you can help control your airplane. So I think it may be a mental thing. It's probably not even just do it.
I'd say
mental telepathy, probably.
You got the mental right, but not in that same respect. But anyway, we're going to get into the UFOs.
They're going to think we don't believe they're real.
Yeah. They're going to get the idea we don't believe that fallen angels are flying around with joysticks and
yes.
Yeah.
Amen.
And I believe I'm going to prove this thing. And I know you agree with me, but I got some amazing stuff in this little book. But let's get off that for now because this isn't about that. We're going to actually move into what's real current right now.
Yes,
we're going to talk about Russia. Again, we did a show a while back, just a couple weeks ago, I think, about wars and rumors of wars, and then we did one about Russia moving on the border. And
very prophetic, I think.
But before we do that, we'll just one more time tell the folks about the God's Found Jubilee book that they can get. And my wife's going to move me over here. This is the donation package. If you'd like to, for a donation of $50 or more, you can get this signed. This is the original 2014 book that really got me on the map. And we're going to give that to you as a gift. We just have a few of them. You can't buy these anywhere. We happened to find a couple cases that were never sold, and my publisher sent them to me. And I said, you know what, I bet there's some folks on our show that would love to have that book, the original God's Found Jubilee book, with typos and all, Doc.
Yeah.
And all right, so that's there. It's on the website. And folks can go and help support our ministry, keep us going. Don't forget, we're also on Rumble, which is just like YouTube. You're watching YouTube. We have a Rumble channel as well because we don't know how long this channel is going to last for conservative people. We have a Facebook page. Who knows how long that'll last? Doc, I have been starting to post more on Getter, Gettr, Getter. So folks, you might want to. I'm Daniel Goodwin on Getter. And you might want to check that out because Facebook's not always going to be around. They're censoring us. They're pulling our stuff. They're taking away our circle of influence. They're putting us down the bottom of the list. I'm on some kind of restriction right now, both of my pages, and my Dan Goodwin page and the Prophecy in the Spotlight page. So just face it, the world is changing. America's changing, and censorship is here. And YouTube is censoring, so is Facebook. Now Rumble is not. Getter is not. And of course, we're on television from every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and Tuesday night, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We're on CTN, Christian Television Network. Doc,
you got a podcast too, I think.
And we do. We have a podcast. Oh, and she just reminded me. We have a radio now. Mm-hmm. In fact, we're gonna record another radio today while we're here. I think tomorrow, February 13th, is show number 6, our 6th radio program. So we've been on the radio for 6 weeks now, and that's why we're broke again, because we took on some more
ministry.
And got a good deal on getting on the radio. So we signed up for three months. We're going to stay. So we need your help if you can to partner with us. Doc, we need somebody to give $1,000.
That's right.
We could use $5,000 right now.
Yeah.
So we got another bill coming up in about 6 weeks, I think, 5 or 6 weeks, for television and radio.
Right.
And and now it's more than it was before.
Right.
So, okay, so let's. I wanted to talk about Russia for a few minutes here, because it's in the news big time right now. Yesterday, the whole country was going nuts. Of course, they're all saying the same thing. Yeah. You know what I've learned, Doc, is all the media takes a bucket and they put their bucket under the same spout and they get their news and then they go talk about it.
That's about the way it works.
They all use the same little phrases.
Yep.
I was listening to No Agenda. My son sends me clips from No Agenda all the time. And they're pretty good on some stuff. But they were talking about the truckers up in Canada. And they were playing all the different TV stations. They were playing a line that they all used the same
All
line.
use the same phraseology.
They said the so-called freedom truckers. They all used the word so-called, every one of them. Now, that's not a coincidence.
No.
They're all reading the same script.
That's it.
Now, who's behind the script? That's what I want to know. There's no journalism anymore.
Oh,
People
there is
don't go study. They don't go investigate.
Not in any mainline.
No.
News
They stick their
outlet.
bucket under the spout, they open it up, and they turn it off, and then they go and they
even
read it.
some of the so-called conservative ones, and maybe a little better, but they still.
The so-called freedom rally, the truckers, what do you mean so-called? There's no violence up there.
No, there's no violence.
Or they're trying to discredit them.
Yes, but hey, that's how you win when you can't win. You assassinate their character.
They've got the bridge. The Windsor Bridge is closed. You cannot get across either way from.
You can't get in. You can't get in or out of Canada.
Yeah, they've got the Montreal, I think, closed. Montana, is that the Montreal one? I don't know, but
they've got them all closed off. And hey,
so I'm all for it. I think it's the only way to get the attention of a rogue tyranny government in Canada and America. They say it's coming here.
Yeah, I won't be surprised. And
they say the truckers are going to do the same thing.
I'm being prepared for that, because that means there'll be another chink in the supply line.
Yeah.
But hey, somewhere along the line, somebody has to be able to make a statement, and this is an organization, the truckers, that has the ability to do it and make a major statement.
Yeah.
Farmers will probably join in with them.
Yeah.
Of course, all the farmers I know have got 3 or 4 tractor trailers anyway.
They claim that they call tow trucks up in Ottawa, and the tow trucks.
They joined with them.
They joined them.
Yeah.
If they either said,
well, they know where they get their bread and butter. They
either said, no, we're not getting involved, or they went and then they joined the protest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
I do too.
So
I hope they took a few thousand gallons of fuel with them.
It's already done something. They're already loosening things in Canada.
Oh,
and
not only that, but it's happening in America.
They're claiming it's because the vaccines are working, and therefore now, what a lie! What a lie!
No, as some of our leaders said this week, science hasn't changed. But it's politics that's changed.
Yeah, but
science is still science.
But what they're saying is the science has changed. Yeah. How come people aren't waking up to what that means?
Well,
science doesn't change.
Most people don't know how to think for themselves. That's
science is supposed to be based on scientific fact and truth. Science don't change. Our opinions change.
There is no empirical science done in our world.
So let's get to Russia. Russia's on the border.
Yeah.
By the way,
and our leadership over here is stoking the fire. They're clinking. They're stirring it up.
Now, Tucker Carlson, I think it was Friday, and I wrote it down. I believe he said that Russia was 20% of the world's landmass. The nation, Russia.
It's huge.
Now, I told that to my son.
7 time zones, is it?
I don't know.
Or maybe more. I'm not.
I mean, it comes all the way almost to Alaska, right to the west coast of America.
And all the way on the other side of China. So yeah.
It's huge.
It's either 9 or 11 time zones.
Now,
that it
Tucker
covers.
said 20%. Now, I told my son that, my son Ezekiel. So he Googled me, sent me a picture on my phone. He says someone is saying it's 11%. So I don't know what it is, but whether it's
still a
11
lot.
or 20, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Now, they don't have the most people, obviously.
No, well, most of it's uninhabitable. Yeah.
Siberia. Yeah, there's land for sale.
But underneath all that's full of natural gas. So
Yeah, and that's going to bring us to our discussion here about Russia, just briefly. Russia has, I think the last I heard was 175,000 troops, 180,000 troops.
Something like that.
And also, I believe this was on Tucker, so I could have got this wrong, but I believe they said 75% of their army is right there. 75% of Russia's
I didn't
army.
realize they had that much percentage-wise.
Yeah.
That's putting an awful lot of eggs in one basket.
Now, my son said, if that's true, you mean there's only 250,000 troops? Well, why would you have more?
Yeah.
You got to pay them guys. You got to feed them. See, Russia's not like America. They don't have troops all over the world.
No.
Their troops are there.
Right.
And then they're not spread out all over Europe like ours are. So they don't, if you have that many, you got to pay them. You got to feed them. You got to house them. You got to educate them. You got to power, all that. So in Russia, most of Russia's power is in its nuclear arsenals and things like that.
And its threats.
And its location.
Yeah.
I mean, who's after it? Now, they're on the border. Now, I wrote down 3 things here, Doc, why I believe this is happening. And I think you're going to agree with me. Number 1 is the NATO threat.
Sure.
You want to deal with that?
If I was Russia, I would see it as a threat, because there's no buffer zone. We talked about it in our program recently. We felt the same way whenever the Bay of Pigs, whenever down in Cuba these things happened with the
Cuban Missile Crisis.
The missile crisis,
it's known as in history.
Yeah,
Russia was going to put missiles on.
We were ready to go to war over that.
In fact, it almost happened.
And that's further away than what this is. So from Russia's standpoint, I can see that. But at the same time, they know there's no real threat in that.
Yeah.
And there's a bigger picture here than that.
Yeah, and we'll get to I know what you're getting at.
Well, no.
My second one is this.
Okay.
My second one is the weakness of the world right now, and mainly America. America's weak.
We are not.
America's not going to do
We have no real
anything.
say-so in any major thing in the world.
And one of my other, and I'll let you deal with the pipeline stuff, but my other one is this. Why would Russia take Ukraine? Because they can.
They can.
Who's going to stop them?
And here's the thing, another avenue before we get to the pipeline. Ukraine is a descendant of the Scythians. And when the Scythians settled in the north, we're talking all the way back into chapter 11 and 12 of the book of Genesis. Ukraine is a descendant of the Scythians, which was at one time what we would call the Slavs. They literally are Russian to start with. So all Russia is doing is regaining the territory that at one time was underneath that group, that people group. They're falling in line. It won't be long until Georgia will be back in line. They're putting the former USSR back together again.
Now, let me ask you this, and this is something I was throwing out, having in a conversation with somebody today, in fact, my son. They've got 175, 180,000 troops there. Mm-hmm. How do you turn around and go home after that? Wouldn't you look pretty weak? Wouldn't you look bad if you suddenly say, well, yeah, we've changed our mind, we're going back?
Well, they're not going to change their mind. No, they're locking down the gas hub into the Europe from the north, and secondly, they're bringing the territory back underneath the territory that it was in the past.
So let's deal with the other issue, and that's the natural gas.
Yes.
Tell
well, even last week, Biden says, "Hey, we're going to tell you to stop that Nordic pipeline through Germany." What's he got to say about it? He hasn't got anything to say about it. The Germans said, "You don't have anything to say about this."
Yeah.
So once they lock it down with those two, the only final thing is Ezekiel 38, and the spoils of that, I believe, is to give Russia the natural gas that's flowing in through Cyprus into Greece, and that will give Russia total dominance of the natural gas into all of Europe.
And the only the only missing piece of that puzzle is Israel.
That's
because
right.
Israel has gas.
That's it.
That they're piping in.
Yep.
So that'll be
And
the carrot
That I'm
to get
convinced.
the monopoly. Remember the monopoly game, and if you got
Yeah.
all three of the same color, you got hotels on them and all that.
I think that's the hook in the jaw. The Lord said, "Put the hook
They
in the
won't
bear."
be
and put him down.
satisfied with just 80%. They're going to say,
No.
Israel is supplying all this gas.
They want domination.
And that keeps the price flexible because there's somebody else involved in the game.
Yeah.
And
Nobody
so
be involved.
That'll be the hook for Russia to go down
I'm
and
convinced.
overtake Israel.
May be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong because I can see in prophecy, I can see the Slavs, the Scythian, I can see the old lines falling back into place where they were. One of the things we need to understand is that when God gave prophecy, He gave it to specific people group in specific geography. And I'm convinced that prophecy is going to be fulfilled with the same people's group in the same geography.
Which would explain why Ukraine's going to
It's
once
gonna-
again be Russia.
It's going to once again be Russia's. Just like Crimea, and just like you're going to see it fall. I won't be surprised if there may be some other nations. Romania is a volatile spot again.
Yeah. And
These were all at one time underneath the control. Of course, Romania is more tied in with German because it was the German kings that actually ruled in Romania.
so this is Saturday, February 12th, as we're recording this. This is going to air probably Monday, February 14th. It's possible that the war has already
might.
happened by the time this airs.
It won't be much of a war.
No.
Ukraine is no match by any means. The area that they're looking at right now is already pro-Russian. Many of the people that are in the eastern side of Ukraine are already Russian people.
It's possible to be almost no resistance. I mean, if they
Oh,
start
yeah.
rolling tanks, and what are they going to?
And all it'll take is once they invade, the president says, "I resign." They put their puppet king in, and they've accomplished what they wanted.
Yeah.
And
Is that going to be? Is Hunter Biden on the list of possible puppets?
might be. I don't know. They've had an awful lot of money tied
See,
up over there.
And here's the other variable here. There's so much corruption from the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Biden family, the Clinton. I mean, who knows who else, but all tied financially into bribes and money
Yes.
and deals and oil and gas and the whole Biden family's got hooks in there.
Yeah.
And the press wouldn't let anybody talk about it during the election, and it was all there.
But it'll eventually
I'll tell you
come
who
out.
else didn't was Attorney General Bill Barr.
Yeah.
Some stuff just come out about him recently that he knew these things, but he didn't want it to interfere with the election.
Yeah, well-
What do you mean? It's fraud. It's crime. It needed to
crime.
be brought out.
Period. Yes, it did.
Yeah,
but,
I don't understand. It just,
but that was another. But I don't think it'll be much of a war. We're not. If we get involved, it's ridiculous.
yeah. Well, the only way we can get involved anyway is providing financial help or arms to Ukraine or sanctions.
They're doing the same thing right now that they did back in early 1960s. They're sending, just like we did in Vietnam, we sent our military advisors over there, and that's what they're doing right now with Ukraine.
Yeah, and supposedly there's 3,000 troops that were flown in, but they're not.
They're
on the border.
advisors. They're advisors, you know. That's what we did, but it'll not become another Vietnam, so folks don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I hate for us to have any casualties on our side. We have what national defense is it a threat to us
Well,
over?
I like what some of the conservatives are saying. They're saying that we want to go protect their border, and we won't even protect
Won't
our
even
own.
protect our own?
We got thugs and murderers
Yep.
and druggies coming in across the Mexican border
yeah.
into our country.
The list is endless every day.
They
of the
claim that
thing.
China, the fentanyl is coming from China
Yeah.
into Mexico
And
and
then
across
coming-
the border. Yeah. Dangerous.
Very
deadly
dangerous.
stuff.
Very dangerous.
Well, Doc, we'll cut her off there. And folks, don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and share this with some folks on your in your neck of the woods. And until next time, keep your eyes on them skies.